Oh wow, yeah, you can really bump the volume.
It was like,
Oh, and I kept changing the... And that didn't do anything.
and it was also like peaking
Okay,
before all
testing.
Nick, cough.
No, don't cough.
That's pretty
Cough
good
once.
Right
Right here.
there. This might be a little it's still,
Okay.
make sure it's not peaking.
Now.
Well, we're not going to be
good.
shouting. That's a little low.
Guys, welcome
What up?
to the first episode of Project Propose. Here with the man himself.
I'm your host, Dustin.
I am your other host, Mike, and we are here today with special guest Nick. Also, what's up, Nick?
Hey.
Where'd you come from? It's like you were hiding behind the couch.
Well, I was just here and now I'm on a podcast, I guess.
I walked into Dustin's apartment and I thought it was just going to be Dustin and his girlfriend here. All of a sudden, Nick popped up from behind the counter.
It's true. I was behind the couch, and then when Mike was facing the other way, I shuffled behind the kitchen counter.
It was like something out of a sitcom.
It kind of was. It was pretty funny.
Yeah.
You should have been there.
Should have been there, but now you're here, and that's
Now
all that
you're
matters.
here,
And we're
it's
here
great.
for a very special reason. So this is going to be a podcast talking all about what would you say, Dustin? The philosophy of love.
Yeah, so it's going to be like a philosophy of love, like our romantic lives and how we got to the point we're at.
And give the title of the show is because Dustin is getting prepared to take a very special step in his romantic life.
Wait, what?
Dustin-
You guys didn't tell me this.
We figured we'd save it for on air. Dustin, what are you getting? What are you getting ready to do here?
I guess if you didn't read the title, I'm getting ready to propose. And I guess actually, by the time you're listening to this, you would have known that by now.
Yeah.
Well, if you know me, but if you are a stranger, then you don't know.
What's
that.
up, strangers? Shout out to the strangers. Shout out to the friends, family,
Shout out to the stalkers.
the stalker community.
Yeah. So the plan is to propose to Brenna in a few months.
Brenna
And-
is his girlfriend.
Oh yeah, Brenna's my girlfriend.
Of how many years?
Around 8 years.
8, closer to 9 when you hear this.
Yeah, closer to 9 when you hear this. And the plan is to release this podcast the day I propose, or at least the first episode, and then we'll release maybe like one episode a week, and then after that we'll have the whole proposal filmed, and this will give me time to edit the proposal, and then I can post that online.
Yeah, and then
So.
the world will see.
We're just stalling.
Yeah, this is a stalling podcast. So we're gonna talk about romance and love and how Dustin got to the point where he's at, and kind of the outlook that goes into taking a step like that. With that being said, Dustin, let's talk a little bit about your life with Brenna, how you guys met. Kind of just walk us through the timeline a little bit.
So we both went to sleepaway camp in Monticello, New York.
Shout out to Monticello, New York.
Shout out to Monticello. They really need the shout out. They need the love. They're not doing well.
Prayers up to Monticello.
That listener from Monticello is like, what do you mean I'm not doing well?
I'm thriving up here. Thank you very much.
So we met from sleepaway camp when we were kids, but really we connected via video chat online.
Like a bunch of true millennials.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
iChat though, none of this FaceTime nonsense.
Right, it was iChat back then,
Yeah.
not messages or FaceTime. And we were really just friends for 2 years. Like there was no like romantic interest.
Were you nice to her? Were you like a gentleman?
Well, that's a loaded question.
Yeah, were you-
No, I wasn't. But we were friends, so it was okay. It was, like when you're mean to your friends.
Yeah, like Dustin's mean to me all the time. Constant state of bullying.
I mean, we did just have a fight before.
Yeah, total fist fight, brawl in the kitchen. It was pots and pans everywhere. It was a mess. Nick had to break it up.
But I thought we were in the bathroom.
Are we in the bathroom?
I don't know. I don't remember where we are.
Well, there's a stove and there's a sink.
Oh, so
and
we're definitely in the bathroom.
We're definitely in the bathroom.
Sink.
So you were friends? Yeah, so you were friends.
We were friends for 2 years, and then we decided, you know what, we should date.
Did you always have romantic intentions, or?
No, I had no romantic intentions until a couple months before we started dating.
What changed?
I'm a very weird guy. I think a lot about a lot of things, and it was one of the last nights of me being a camper at the sleepaway camp. I was just observing, like, who am I going to be friends with after we're done being campers out of, like, the people in my bunk? Am I going to be friends with them for another year, another 2 years, for a lifetime? Who am I going to stop talking to immediately? And I was thinking about Brenna, and I was like, I just genuinely like love this person. Like not in a romantic way, similar to how I love you guys as people.
What? Aw.
Oh, Nick, don't cry.
I think I'm feeling some tears.
Hand me that banana, Mike.
Not the paper towels right next to the banana, but hand me the banana.
But okay, can you talk more about what you mean by that? Like,
Yeah.
what do you mean by like you love this person?
Someone who like I can laugh with, have a good time. If we're sitting in a room together, this is actually like a great test of like where you're at in a relationship with someone, like romantic or just friendship. If you could sit in a room with someone and there's no awkward silence in the sense of, it's not that you've been talking the whole time. It's that when you stop talking, it's not awkward.
Yeah, I really agree with that. I feel like there's a certain level of like comfort in knowing a person that you get to. That like once you're there, it's like you can just be quiet and it doesn't feel awkward. It's like I just don't have anything to say right now, you know.
So how did things change once you kind of evaluated that you were in a place like, oh, this girl is awesome, I'm definitely gonna keep in touch after camp is over. How did things progress from there?
We like kind of flirted, and I don't even know what that meant.
You were sending her texts like, sup, girl.
Yeah.
Did people text then?
People did text then. Yeah,
Yeah.
texting was... Yeah, Brenna had a BlackBerry, so she would BBM, and I had a...
BBM'd
normal
her,
phone.
sup, girl.
So we definitely, like, flirted, but then camp ended in August, and in November, we decided, you know what, let's do something. So...
Who made the first move?
Neither of us, I would say, made the first move. It was very, like, well, we both clearly have an interest in each other. So we're
very
just
pragmatic. I really respect that.
This, right? And it was a weird like concept. It was we're dating, but like we're not like really dating. Like we're not exclusive. You could see anyone you want.
You took advantage, baby, all over town. Dustin
Right?
how old were you at the time?
Maybe around 17.
Yeah, let's
it was
let's pull it back a second. So how old were you when you guys met? And
I,
how old
I
were you?
was 15 and she was 13, and
And then you were 2 years older when you started dating, right?
yeah, we are consistent. Somehow, I don't know how the math works, but I've been 2 years older than her this whole time.
Oh, she doesn't age faster than you do?
Apparently not. There is a week.
She finally caught up. Congratulations, Brenna.
There is a week where I'm 3 years older than her because our birthdays are the same week. Mine is a little bit earlier. And I used to mess with her back in the day that like I couldn't talk to her because there was too much of an age difference that week. So like I just shut down.
You have an interesting twisted sense of humor.
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you were around 17 at the time when you started dating.
Yes.
And what was it like making that transition from being friends to like, all right, let's give
yeah,
this a shot?
Yeah, we were open relationship. We didn't tell anyone that we were dating. And the both of those elements was to build a strong foundation because like...
Well, I mean, that was smart. I mean, I think especially at that age, it's a really tough age when you're, in circles with people and two friends getting together. It is hard to kind of navigate those waters of avoiding the gossip and avoiding
Right.
being the subject of it.
And that's why we didn't tell anyone, is we didn't want to be a part of that. And the plan was, okay, we'll start telling people once the foundation is strong enough, nothing's really going to affect us. So a month before the next year of camp started, we made it Facebook official. So we were private for like 6 months. But like some people knew, no one knew immediately, but some people knew in the middle. Like I told Nick, because he wanted me to go to prom with someone, so he could do like a double date situation.
Yeah,
and I was
can't
like,
do that. Gotta have a girlfriend.
even though we weren't exclusive, I was like,
I mean, you kind of get to that point where you're like, people want to set you up on dates or they want to set you up with proms.
yeah.
And you're just like, I don't really have an interest in meeting any of you.
I also didn't want to go to prom. No offense.
No, none taken. I went to 4. They were awful.
I only went to, I went to 2 proms and I had a pretty good time with both.
I feel like you're a prom person.
I am such a prom person.
I don't know
honestly.
what that means.
I mean,
but-
like, it's like the same reason I'm like a club person now. Like,
Are you?
yeah, I mean, like, I don't go a lot, but like, if you bring me to one, I'll have a good time.
Damn.
I was just a big prom person because, like, I don't know, I liked going and like I liked dressing up and there was music and it was always fun afterwards. I was a prom person.
Interesting.
Yeah, you were definitely not a prom person.
No, nor am I a club person.
You're barely a leave the house person.
Yeah, I'm very much an introvert. Do you know when I told you about Brenna? I don't remember.
You definitely told me earlier on. So Dustin and I grew up a little bit further apart. So I was kind of separated from your friend groups.
Yeah.
I was my own friend group. So I think you told me, because I knew Brenna and you knew that it wouldn't interfere, but like I definitely took a while to find out. I didn't know right away.
Yeah.
You even kept it from me.
Kept it from everyone.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's easier to keep a secret if you don't tell anyone, as opposed to like you tell one person and it's like, not that they're gonna.
Yeah,
because
then you're like, oh well, I told that person. I
Yeah.
can tell other people, and it's just then it comes out to everybody eventually.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that, and especially you want to make sure that things are, especially if you're of the mind state of you want to make sure that things are going to work out, and you want to make sure that things are going well before you introduce this new phase of your life to people.
Right. And it did work. Like we had a very strong foundation once we became public. Like,
did it change your relationship at all once like people knew about it? Once you really like
No.
started to get more serious?
no, and that was the goal. Is like, and that's arguably the whole goal. Is like, no outside factors can change us, and if they do, hopefully it's just to make it better, not worse.
What doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Yeah.
That's what Kelly Clarkson told me.
Oh, did she tell you that personally?
Yeah, Kelly Clarkson is my close personal friend. Maybe we'll get her on the next episode.
Oh, that'd be cool.
So let's talk about where things went from there. So then there was kind of a period of a few years where things really started to change because you graduated high school and went to college, and then she graduated high school and went to college, and then she transferred colleges.
Yes.
What was that stage of your relationship like?
It's interesting because we were always long distance, it was more of the same. Like, college wasn't really a concern, but it was a factor that could have potentially changed something. But it was more like, oh, you're still just one click away on my computer, you know?
Yeah.
And so we lived an hour apart. I live in New Jersey and she lived in Long Island when we were home. And then I went to University of Pittsburgh and she was still home for a year because she was a year behind me in school. And that was a weird year because we tried to see each other every other month, but it was difficult. But then once she went to Buffalo for school, then we were able to see each other once a month, which was like very good for us. Typically we don't see each other that often. And then when she transferred to FIT, we went back to like every other month. But then there was a point where I was in the city because I graduated, and then we saw each other like way more often.
Yeah. And then from there, once you both graduated, after a little bit, you moved in together.
We did move in together. That
what-
was a year ago.
What was it like taking that step? We're currently sitting here in your lovely
Bathroom.
We're sitting here in your lovely bathroom. What was
The
it
acoustics in the bathroom, you just can't beat.
You can't beat it. That's why I sing in the shower.
Can you talk more about, like, you were distanced for so long?
Yeah.
Like, that's tough. That's like a really hard thing for relationships.
It was interesting because like that's all we kind of knew. It wasn't like going from, okay, we're a normal relationship where we're seeing each other in person constantly, and then to, oh, now we have to be long distance because, I don't know, one of us is going to college or something.
And I guess, like, what did a healthy, like, long-distance relationship look like to you guys?
Do you have any advice to anybody who...
Unfortunately, I would love to give a direct answer, but it's going to be different for everyone. What we did, we talked every day.
On the phone, or?
Through video chat.
He just yelled into the abyss, and then eventually she yelled back.
I think the video chat over phone is important because, one, I think seeing the like you're just that much closer, especially when you're long distance, and it's also easier to just have them on in the background. I feel like when I'm on the phone, like I need to actively be talking. Where
Yeah, you get
through
distracted
video chat,
where you
yeah.
can just open the laptop and leave it and do other
Also,
stuff.
it was a very different culture back then where you could video chat with multiple people at like one time, and that was a common thing to do. So like I'd be video chatting with Brenna, and then I see, oh, Mike's online, let's bring Mike in. And then like all of a sudden you're like being a third wheel.
Yeah. Story of my life.
There was also always, we knew where this was going. It was like, okay, well, after college, like we'll move into together.
You
like,
had the same
once we have a
goals in
job.
mind.
Yeah, like it was always a line that there was always a destination, which is also important. So I would say, if I had to sum it up, some sort of schedule of that doesn't have to be strict. Like if someone is upset that you missed the schedule, like missed a time, so like if I didn't video chat with Brenna one day, like it was no big deal. But if whoever you're dating is upset over that, that's a problem because then they're too clingy. But you also don't want someone who like keeps.
I mean, you could also look at it from the perspective of like, you want to respect this person's time, and like if you set aside a block of time
You want to be on the same.
But I guess it's
But it wasn't
different if
like-
you're video chatting every night and
Yeah.
you miss one night versus like you video chatting once a week and then you miss that.
I think it's more looking at the pattern of if you're video chatting once a week and you miss 1 week, fine. But if you miss like several weeks in a row, or like when you do video chat, like you just don't. It doesn't seem like you care.
Well, so now you're not doing that anymore.
No,
you
we're not
are
doing
living
that.
together.
Yes.
Have you guys? What's the situation? Are you guys like an odd couple situation where it's like difficult to live with each other, or do you find it?
So living together was the biggest step in our relationship for like a while. Definitely bigger than like marrying each other, right? Like
Yeah.
marriage is not going to change anything. It's not going to do anything.
Just legally, it makes a lot of things convenient.
Right. But like moving in together, like a lot of red flags or like things could have popped up that we didn't necessarily know about each other beforehand. But it turns out after you date someone for 7 years, there's really not much more to know. Which I guess was a good thing in this case because there were no surprises. Like we knew exactly what we were getting into, and it's fortunately worked out, and there hasn't been much friction.
Of course it did, because she's the best. What's up, Brenna? First,
Once again, this is my.
she's getting her first direct shout
Are you
out.
trying to get brownie points or
No,
something?
I'm trying to get actual brownies because Brenna makes really good brownies.
Yeah, Brenna does like to bake a lot.
Brenna likes to bake. Brenna likes to cook,
You were
which I'm
just
sure.
eating her banana bread.
It was quite good, I would say.
Would you say it was life changing?
I would say that, yeah.
I'm sure you are the direct beneficiary of the fact that she loves to bake and cook all the time.
So it's weird because I'm such a picky eater that I don't really take advantage of her baking. I also think a lot of what she bakes, it's just like too much. Like, did you really
Stop it with
Did
that.
you really need to insert the cotton candy into the cookie? Like,
Yes is always the answer.
I feel like experimentation. Do everything.
No, this is my problem. But maybe this is why she's dating me. She likes that I don't take advantage.
You know what? You're right. If she dated someone who was like, "Yo, make me cookies every day," maybe she would have broke up with you by
I
now.
don't know, but I also think she would like that too.
She might. You never know. She's an enigma.
But I do appreciate her cooking very much, and she's a great cook.
She's a great cook. I live around the corner, so sometimes I'll pop in for dinner. So now you're getting ready to take the next big step from moving in together. You are getting ready to propose and get married. And is there anything that you think? You said that you don't think much is going to change. But is there anything at all that you think is going to change in your lives?
Hopefully, no. If something does, then that means something went wrong, right? Like
That's true. Everything's going great right now.
right. I mean, the marriage is the ideology of okay. Now I'm promising I'm going to love you forever.
It's almost like artificial in a sense.
It is artificial.
It's like you're kind of just like leaning on like, oh, like, well, we're married now, so we're together forever. And like maybe people idealize that too much.
Well, I think there's some relationships where they get married and then they stop trying because they don't think they have to. They have it locked in, which is not the case. You need to keep trying.
Yeah, that's my view on marriage is I think it is a nice institution when you respect what it means. Like, I think if you were in a situation like you were in, where you're like, we live together, I love you, I want to keep doing this, then it only makes sense to make that commitment. But then I feel like there are people who, like Nick said, idealize it to the point of like, oh, well, I need to be married by the time I'm this age, or I need to do this by the time, those people, those are the ones that I feel like end up not working out because people pursue something that might not be the best thing for them. But also at the same time, I do think it's a meaningful step to take when, like you said, Dustin, when you respect what it means and when you also, put the effort into realizing that it's not the end point. It's just another beginning.
Right.
So that being said, you're kind of approaching it as it's the logical next step. But is there anything you're excited about? Anything that you're looking forward to? It's gonna be a change. Maybe in name more than anything, but
Moving in together was a much bigger step than any of this. But that's why I'm doing the podcast and stuff, is to kind of make it interesting and fun for me, turning this into a creative endeavor. And then my output should hopefully be better, and so it's a win-win. Like, Brenna gets a better proposal, and I have fun doing it.
fun with your bros, doing bro stuff,
Talking about love.
talking about love, crushing that toxic masculinity.
Now, I know we're almost on time, but I do want to talk a little bit about you guys and where you're at.
I want to do nothing but talk about myself.
I want to do nothing but talk about you, Dustin.
I'd say we're all definitely in very different romantic places, which is why I think we make a good team here. Because Dustin, you're getting ready to take this major step after dating someone for a long time, the only serious relationship you've ever really been in. Nick, you've been in a few serious relationships.
Like 4 or 5.
Yeah,
depends how you count.
I count 5.
Yeah, we count 5, and I've never really been in a serious relationship at all. Just a couple 1 month, 2 month little things here and there, but nothing serious. So I think we make a good unit to talk about this kind of stuff.
Yeah, a lot of different perspectives.
So you said you had questions for us.
I do have questions.
What's up? Questions? Ask them. Boom.
Questions. Done.
Boom. Question, answer. Done. Podcast over.
So for Nick,
you
make it sound like this is gonna be a bad question.
Like we're gonna grill you.
I feel like I'm on the spot now.
Like a cheeseburger.
I would argue we've maybe even asked these questions before.
You could say that. It feels that way sometimes.
Why do you think it hasn't worked out in the past?
Why have you not found somebody who makes you cook?
Look, I mean, I'm only 25. I think I've got time,
Yeah, I mean, there is no rush at all, and that's not what.
Well, what do you think, like, for you guys, like, Dustin, you've reached that point, Nick and I have not. What is the point for you where you're like, all right, let's do this. Let's settle down. Like, Dustin, what was that point for you? And Nick, what do you foresee that point being for you?
I thought that we were in this since day one, and that's the only reason why I'm going to date someone.
Because you saw a serious potential for this working out in the future from when you got started.
I'm not dating someone off a guess. I'm dating someone because, not that I think they're the one, but I do not see an end.
And how far can you see into the future?
I wish I knew.
That's so Raven.
It's not that I see until I could see up until 2 years and then I have no idea. I don't see any bad qualities about this person. I only see things that I enjoy about them, and I don't see why we wouldn't work out.
No red flags.
Yeah, there's no red flags.
So yeah, that's always what I kind of when you said that, that's always what I kind of read it as, is you're looking for a situation where not necessarily that you can see down the line into the future of what this is going to be like, but just based on what I can see right in front of me right now, I kind of have a general feeling of how this is going to go, and until that changes.
Right, and that could change in a year, in a month, in a day, right? Things happen.
Yeah.
But off of my best guess, which apparently is pretty good,
you got lucky.
I don't see any problems.
Yeah, you did pretty good. Nick, what do you foresee the point being for you, where you're gonna be like, all right, you know what, I'm ready to settle down? Is that something that you can kind of prejudge, or will you not know it until you see it?
I mean, I think I agree with what Dustin's saying. You just love a person, and there's nothing about their personality that
that you see not being compatible with yours.
Right, that you're just oh well, and this person's mean to little children, or I don't know. That's a crazy example. But,
I would love to date somebody that's mean to little children. Put those kids in their place. Right.
I'm just saying, for me personally, that might be a red flag. I don't know. This is a random example, but yeah,
not for me. Ladies, if you're mean to little children, hit me up.
I think the other thing to this that Dustin seems particularly good at, which is something I think I used to struggle with more than I do now, is just being emotionally, I don't know, maybe smart, if that's the right word, or just
emotional intelligence.
Yeah, just being able to predict how you will feel, and also what you want in another person.
Yeah, and that's a skill that is applicable not only in dating, but in everyday life. That's what I use to get a job, and that's what I use to make a lot of decisions. Is how
get your apartment.
To,
you kind of knew exactly, kind of have a general idea of what you're looking for out of certain things before you.
Yeah, the first apartment I looked at is the one that I rented. The first job that I took out of college, I'm totally in love with. I'm very good at emulating how I'm going to feel.
I've been very much not like that at all.
I know.
The first relationship was it was great. I learned a lot about
your first relationship lasted for how long?
3 years.
So it was
it was during high school,
Yeah, you're at a point.
It's we're all growing and hormones are whatever.
Those
flying
hormones.
in the air.
Those hormones. Yeah, and I feel like that's the thing, is we're all kind of, our experience to this point, a lot of them were through high school and college, where things are still kind of changing, and people are changing, and situations in life are changing. So I feel like we've all kind of been shaped by that. We haven't been through a lot of serious adult world dating, if any?
I mean, right now there's really just online dating, right?
Yeah, which it's funny because you kind of missed that. You thankfully missed that
thankfully.
wave.
I don't know how I would do it.
Nick and I have had to ride it, and it's not fun.
It's really
you've met
terrible.
people that you've dated online, right?
Yeah. Online dating is just kind of the worst. It's like you spend forever talking to this person. You kind of have like the same conversation with everybody. And then you meet up and then they never text you. And it's just like, what was all that work for? Just to like prove I'm not a serial killer or something?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
It's like looking for a job where like you apply to a job, you go for an interview.
But it's like, it's
right?
more work than a job, right? Because
Really?
like you don't just send everyone one resume. It's like you have to put in like active work.
It's like you're kind of partially getting to know someone, but then at the
not
same time
even.
you're not getting to know them at all. Like I've tried to online date a little bit, and every time I end up getting frustrated to the point where I delete the apps off my phone because it's just so frustrating when you're trying to develop some sort of relationship with somebody that you have never met, and that even when you meet, you really know nothing about them, and it's awkward, and it's, and it works for some people. It works for a lot of people. I would say that's how a lot of people of our generation, of our age, meet people, but you have to really have the patience for it.
Yeah.
Like, I know me personally, I feel like I'm looking for a very specific thing out of the people that I want to date. Mm-hmm. And if you're going into online dating with that mentality, it's most likely not going to work out for you because it's hard to nitpick like that.
I feel like at that point it's like, why not just speed date? Like, I feel like it would accomplish the same thing that online dating is trying to do, which is like expand your social network of like possible interactions with people.
Cut this part out. This might be an app idea. We might have just given away the $1 million idea.
No, I think it's this old idea that's existed for a while. It's like just speed date. Like that's all you're trying to do.
Uber's just taxis. Airbnb is hotels. Reinventing the wheel for $1 billion is the name of the game, pal.
But then, like, going back to what Dustin was saying about, like, you want to be friends with a person before you, like, decide to date them.
Well,
it's like a dating app sort of comes at it from the opposite angle, which might not be the right angle.
Well, that's a good question. Is that important for you guys? I mean, obviously, Dustin, it was important for you that you knew Brenna and that you were friends beforehand.
Yeah, that's part of the foundation.
Yeah, Nick, do you view that to be an important thing?
I think I do. Yeah, I think it's important.
I do as well. I mean, like, I'll throw in the devil's advocate point of saying that I'm sure there's something more exciting to, really getting to know somebody from scratch, but I just don't see that being the key to a successful long-term relationship, because I feel like you have to have that ground knowledge of knowing I really get along with this person, I really care for this person, and I think that I could see myself pursuing this even further than the friendship that we already have.
And I don't think that the friendship at the beginning is required, but if you're dating someone who is not your best friend, or you don't see that they're ever going to be your best friend, then that's a problem.
I would agree with that.
Right. I mean, obviously, like, a significant other is not going to play every role in your life.
Right.
Like, it's important to have your own foundation, your own, like, social life.
Yes.
And it also depends on what you're looking for. I mean, some people are just looking for something casual, just looking for a companion, somebody to talk to.
Sure.
But if you were looking for a relationship, I just don't see... For me personally, I don't see myself looking at a person and being like, oh, like, I don't know, would I be friends with you if we weren't dating? Like, that never made sense to me. It's like, I feel like I would need to, I would have this, like, just need to be friends with this person, and, like, not just friends, like, the best of friends, like you said.
I think this is a good first episode.
Yeah, I think we hit some topics.
I think we're all hungry.
We're hungry. Let's get some food. All right, so we're gonna go get some food.
Yeah,
you guys come back for the next episode.
Next episode, we'll start talking about plans for the proposal.
Yeah, so you want to hear that? I know you want to hear that. You're hungry for that content. So for the first episode of Project Propose, I have been Mike, here with the proposed man himself.
I'm Dustin.
He's Dustin. And Nick, thanks for dropping in.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
I had you in Dustin's apartment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I had both of you in my apartment. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, bye.
All right.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.